Welcome back to another episode of Confessions of a Multi-Hyphenate. I'm your host, Crystal Henry. This is our time, our bite-sized time to talk about topics related to being a multi-passionate, multi-interested, multi-abled person out here in the world. Going back to episode 5. Episode 5 was all about accountability. Remember, who gonna check me, boo? We're not channeling all that she by Sheree energy, or really Sheree energy, but we are channeling what that move of the week was to make a list of 3 different people or even communities or groups that you could reach out to for accountability, and then to choose one. Who did you connect with to hold you accountable? Maybe you said, hey girl, I am working towards this. Check in with me next Wednesday and see how I did with this. Remember, progress over perfection. So if you didn't do it, now's your reminder to do it, okay? Let's get into episode 6. This is about navigating new ideas. So moving from your spark to your action and doing so with intention. New ideas come all the time. Maybe you're somebody that says, I get ideas when I'm in the shower, or I get ideas when I'm driving, or I get ideas when I'm relaxing, or for some people, even while they're asleep, they're dreaming of those new ideas. So whether you are a serial creator, a serial multi-hyphenate, one of those Jack or Janes of all trades, or if you're somebody who enjoys just dabbling into those new interests, we have all been there. The idea strikes, and next comes all the excitement and all the passion. It's literally just striking it and just combusting, right? But it can stay there and it can smolder and it can die out, or it can continue to grow and then burn other things away in a productive way, right? But what do you do to take that idea and to keep that fire burning? Because we've all been there before. All right. So today we're going to be talking about how to approach those new ideas in a way that really keeps you energized and keeps you excited without you feeling overwhelmed, because that's what it can be. I have a running list in my phone, and I mean, if you're watching this, then you can see it, but I have a running list in my phone of just different ideas, different things that I want to try, different things that I'm interested in. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I do have to take that list and be able to say, all right, what am I going to do with it? Either it's just going to stay there, or I'm going to move one of those ideas into the action category and actually make it happen. But I need to determine if it's worth pursuing. Not everything is worth pursuing, even for monetary gain. Some things are worth pursuing for strictly a hobby, okay? And that's all right. That's perfectly fine. But you have to determine what category or what bucket, using one of those corporate terms, that you are going to put it in. But you do need to learn how to manage all of these things. And I'm going to share with you a system to be able to determine what ideas you need to be giving your energy to, and then even why it's so easy to get excited about those new things, but making sure that you don't burn out about them. A lot of times when I think about people who have these new ideas, I think about, or even myself, sometimes my mind goes to the worst that can happen with these ideas if I choose to pursue them from a monetary perspective and say, okay, I want to try to make some money from this. For some reason, my mind goes to what's the worst that can happen before it goes to the best that can happen. And the worst that can happen for me is thinking about being embarrassed, thinking about failing, thinking about if it actually doesn't work. But that equates more to if it doesn't generate the buzz or the appeal or the applause that I'm looking for. But I'm training my mind now to think about what is the best that can absolutely happen. Meaning, what can I learn? What can I gain? What can I share with somebody else that can help to empower them, inspire them? And more of my focus has been leaning there than it has been on the failure, on the embarrassment, on the lack of applause. Because those things are going to happen whether I'm trying these new things or not. Think about it. People are going to talk, they're going to have something to say. But why not give them something to talk about? Okay. But again, I am looking at how I can be more focused on the best that can happen. And being in this multi hyphenate space where we are passionate about many things and doers of many things, it can be easy to get caught up in the worst that can happen before we're thinking about the best that can happen. 5 tips. Not a preacher, but I'm going to come to you with 5 instead of 3. Okay. So, 5 of these tips for navigating new ideas. Remember, we're moving from spark to action. We don't want to be that smoldering, those smoldering embers. Although I've never built a fire. I think I have before, but either way, we don't want to burn out or die out, but we want to continue to grow and to burn in a good way. First thing, let that idea that you have breathe a little bit before you go and act on it. Okay. So when it strikes, write it down. Maybe you need to write it down literally on a piece of paper or put it in your phone. Maybe you have a system in your computer where you're capturing those ideas, but let it just breathe for a second. Sit with it. Think about it. Fantasize in a good way about it. Visualize what can happen with that idea. Maybe you want to share it with somebody and talk it over with them. And again, even let the excitement simmer just a little bit. Because again, when those endorphins wear off, that's when it's time to move into action. But if we always stay in this high endorphin filled space, I don't know how productive you may be if you decide to really act on this idea. But letting it simmer just a little bit helps you to approach it from a more grounded perspective rather than one that is full of adrenaline and you may not be thinking about it thoroughly. So, first thing, let that idea simmer. Second tip, big one for me, determine if it fits into your life right now. During the intro for Confessions of a Multi Hyphenate for this podcast, I talked about how a girlfriend of mine came to me 7 years ago with the idea to start a podcast. It did not fit into my life at that particular time. I had to make that determination, and it came with some angst and really struggling with that. It just did not fit into my life at that time. And you got to consider what season of your life you are in and whether or not that idea fits into your current time that you have available, your current list of responsibilities, and even your own current energy level. Do you physically have the time and the energy to act on that idea? And even asking yourself, can this project, can this endeavor, can this idea coexist in the world, in my world, with what it is that I already have going on? And sometimes those are conversations that can be difficult in this multi hyphenate space, especially if you're someone that is prone to being a doer. You want to do it all, right? Not just be about talking about it, but you want to do it. But does it fit into your life right now? And maybe it's you saying it's not a right now, but it's a later on, okay? It's not now or never, but maybe it's a not right now and maybe it's a later on. Third point, third tip related to navigating these new ideas is to give yourself space to have fun with it. Yes, it is letting the excitement and the endorphins simmer a bit. You can still have fun with it and not look at it as such a chore. Oh, this I got to do this podcast again. Oh, I got to come in here, I got to record again. But give yourself space to enjoy it and to sit in the fun with it and turn it into something that you lean into the joy with. Yes, you're being productive. Yes, you're being efficient. Yes, you're putting these new ideas out into the world. You can also, at the same time, have fun and simply be on the side of learning and growing. Remember, what's the best that can happen? You can grow, you can learn, you can become even more of a Jack or a Jane. All right. So don't lose sight of the fun in the process of this. Fourth point, think about the skills that you're gaining and the connections that you're making, not just about the money. Now, I know, if you are a creative person, you're probably thinking, but I want to make some money from this. Me too, sis, me too. At at the same time, if I am not thinking about what I can gain from this from a learning perspective, how I can grow, how I can share something meaningful to others in the world, then that to me, I'm losing more than the money. And the money will come, okay? The money will come because I am learning how to do these new things. It will come because I'm learning how to do this in the process. So, again, and not everything has to make money right away. That's a hard pill to swallow sometimes, especially when you're investing your time, your own money, your own effort. But not everything needs to make money right away. But again, focus on what skills you're gaining and even the connections that you are making all along. And sometimes those are even more valuable than a paycheck. The money's coming though. Okay. We still have to live off of money and not just on good vibes and learning. So I'm living in both worlds. The fifth point around navigating new ideas is to move quickly but thoughtfully. All right. It talks about or I'm talking about not hesitating, not standing there waiting, looking on the edge and saying, should I do it? Should I do it? Should I do it? When you have the daggone parachute on your back and when you know that you're going to be safe. And because a lot of times we can get stuck in that should I not? Perfect example. I would have hesitated on moving forward with this podcast when I did, had I had to be responsible for the technical end of things, right? If I had to be responsible for what it sounded like, what it looked like, the lighting, the this and the that, even if I did it from home, I would have stalled and waited. But I had the idea. I said, let me just move quickly. Let me look at the resources that I have available to me and to move. And sometimes it takes a person to push you a little bit into moving when you really don't have a good reason for stalling. But if you take too long to move, then that fire is going to completely burn out. There will be no more hot embers, and it may be harder to get that spark going. But again, the longer you hesitate, the more likely that fear, all the worst that can happen are going to really creep in. But make a plan, take a step, and move on it. Okay. No, it's not going to be perfect the very first time out that you do it. It's not supposed to be. All right. But it will continue to grow and to be better as you go along. Those are our 5 points for taking in a new idea and how you can move from spark to action. Let the idea breathe before you act on it. Figure out if it fits into your life right now. Give yourself space to have fun with it. Have some fun with it. Think about the skills and the connections that you're making, and then move quickly but thoughtfully. Here's our quote related to this. And I do like to pick out a quote from an African American, either man or woman, that connects to this quote. And this one comes from Shirley Chisholm. And she says, you don't make progress by standing on the sidelines, whimpering and complaining. You make progress by implementing ideas. So, what ideas are you implementing? And every time I've seen that quote and that I thought about it in reference to navigating these new ideas and moving from spark to action, I thought, dang, Shirley, you ain't have to pull me up like that. But again, are you whimpering and complaining from the sideline when you can literally get in the game? Okay. Now, your multi hyphenate move of the week. Challenge yourself to leap. Look at one of those ideas and balance it against those points, okay? And especially ask yourself, does it fit into my life right now? Do I have space for this right now? And then if you do, then go ahead and move on it, okay? And this is more of a, do you have space for it? Can it fit with you right now? More so than the other points about having fun and the and the growth and the connections and all the things, but does it really fit right now? And if you say, you know what, it does, I'm really making excuses, whimpering and complaining on the sideline, then go ahead and take a leap. So that takes us to the end of this episode. Remember, I said bite size. Okay. So think about, I do want you to have the courage to explore these new ideas, and not everything has to become a business, but continue to push forward, embrace those creative sparks. I love a good creative spark, and being able to see where it takes you. You are not in control of the outcome. You are not in control of what happens. You're only in control of what you do and your input. So go ahead and try something new today. And thank you for listening. Please do not forget to subscribe, to leave those stars, leave your feedback. Make sure that you are sharing this with somebody else and that you are focused on your progress and not your perfection. And we're all about fine tuning our focus, okay, as we are living in this multi hyphenate life. And I will see you next week for another episode of Confessions of a Multi Hyphenate. See ya.